Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of December 16th. It is Friday right now. Paul is on the mic. I'm doing the research. I'm in the room also, and I'm here trading some. The market's here up. Actually, it's pretty flat on the day, but we started off on a nice move up today, as a lot of the news crossing about the trade deal, the phase 1 trade deal has been completed and agreed upon, and now there's just a lot of chatter of how it's being interpreted and stuff, and the market's been kind of chopping around.
Order submitted.
There's a sell divergence on the bot happening right there, but a newsworthy day, a news day. So when we have a news day, just to put this out there, I tend not to pay attention to a lot of the automated bot signals, because you have to add the underlying criteria of the underlying momentum of the market due to the news, and sometimes we get further pushes right here. And again, there's news flow out every half an hour. Trump has just tweeted here around 11:30 talking about it, so of course we got that push up. Over here they were discussing and China came out with their comments and stuff, and it kind of sold off. So, it really is dependent on the news with the futures traders. For the stock trades, different story. Still, a lot of the biotechs and drug stocks are in focus for me, considering we've been doing so well with those. So I want to start off with a couple of those today that I'm in. Now, I got some Bluebird Bio. Got some AMRN, AMRN. I have the AUPH, VERU. We took some. Well, let's just start off here. I don't want to be redundant here. The big news: VERU came out with the earnings this week. We expected some maybe updates. The updates haven't come yet with the phase 2 of their VERU 944 drug, but you could see the craziness that happened during the earnings call yesterday. It actually came all the way back down to $2, just about $2, and then bounced back up. It's $2.50. It was up to $3 the day before, and we discussed it that day going into earnings. I said you have to have your orders set up. You have to have your after, because this tends to move after hours, and then it comes in and settles. I went so far to call a lot of people I knew were in it and tell them to set up. Most of them, for some reason, didn't have the ability to trade after hours, either trading through banks or something. These are just family and friends and stuff, close people, are not serious traders, so they wouldn't have serious trading accounts. But these are in, IRA, so they didn't have the ability to get out. And I tried to walk them through how to set up your orders for after hours, how to put up a good to cancel and put in after hours, permissions and stuff. But like I said, most of them did not have that opportunity. So if you didn't have that opportunity or did not pay attention to me, then you didn't get out at $2.80 to $3, which we was trading at that night. End up next day, came down all the way back to $2. Now it's back to $2.40. Looking at the chart right now, it's actually quite bullish. It's we got through the news. We're still waiting on phase 2 news. It's supposed to be out by latest next month. I think the market seems to be reacting pretty good here. I actually thought it would be more selling after yesterday, but we're really just kind of holding ground here. So I have to consider this a kind of a pretty good chart right now, as it waits for some news and listen to that conference call yesterday. Mitch Steiner did mention there was going to be, and I wrote a lot of notes and stuff, but there was going to be a tremendous flow of news starting in 2020. So he was talking about partnerships and updates and all kinds of things. So I don't know. It still is okay. It looks good. I'd still like to get it over $3. AUPH, nice. I mean, it's consolidating here. We could actually drift here a little and kind of shake the tree a bit, but I think the overall consensus is this one's heading higher. I'd show my I would say my short-term target here is probably around that $22 level. 22, not even to 24, but 20 to 22 would be a good target, up towards more towards 22. And overall, as we get closer to their next trial updates for their DES, dry eye syndrome, I think this one will hold these levels, and that's actually a bigger market. Dry eyes is a much bigger market than the lupus nephritis, area. So that is a big drug, and they expect that drug, if that drug came out or very close to being seen as a being very successful, this company right here has a great possibility of being taken out by another larger company, especially the one who has a competing drug, the dry eye drug. I don't have it off the top of my head, which one that is. I just forget. But yeah, so we like this a lot long. Take advantage of buying it on any dip. If it does pull back, I don't see it pulling back under 15. And if it does, it's probably going to be a buy. So how do we want to approach this? Well, with the options, again, I think you have to go out pretty far in the options, maybe to April, maybe even to further. Because you don't know if it's going to chop around before we get closer to the next data release, and I think that would be a big data release, and things will look really good for the stock at that point. Or do we move up into that beforehand, or does it get bought out before that? A lot of questions. In either case, if it pulls back or moves higher, I still want to be in it. I don't want to miss that opportunity. So I'm willing to, hold the position here. If it pulls back, maybe get a little bit more. I'm not adding to anything right now. I'm happy with what I have. And maybe, if anything, pick up some options going out to like June or something. I was looking at the options today. Where are they? I did look at them. Let me see. I'm bringing them up here. All right, so it's trading at about $18. So let's go out to July 18th. July 18th, or $4 only. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, 17s are $5.40, the 20s are $3.90. It's not bad at all on the options on this. It's kind of interesting. All right. Let's move on. All right, some of the other drug stocks there, we talked about the VERU, we talked about the AUPH, we have the EXEL. I have options in that. And I started picking up some shares, and it's slowly moving up, slowly. So they had some good news out on a drug, an update on the drug today. It gapped up, but it kind of just drifted off here. This is a slow mover. I mean, I want to see better stuff out of it. I hate when it gaps up and sells off on good results. I mean, you just don't like that. But it's been moving up in the right direction. I have options on it and shares. And again, at this point, kind of gives me a little impression, a little bearish divergence on this news. But being a drug stock, you could get news at any time on this one, and it could really explode it. So probably within this area of 17 down to 15, I like it. That's good. If you get down to that lower trend line, of course, it's going to be pretty good. So anyway, just update on that. Still looks pretty good. Had some good news today. Kind of pulled back. I would expect, a little sell divergence here and a little pullback, but overall, I want to be part of that stock. Now, AMRN, here's one of the buyout candidates of 2020 that they're saying that might. So I ended up getting some. And you can see it's actually right up against the highs. It's a nice looking chart. It's a really nice looking chart. So I'm just expecting something to happen with this. I almost want to get some more of it. And you have to go out far enough on this one too. So that's, what is that trading at? $24. All right, I just picked up some. What did I pick up here? February 25 calls. Was that what? Yeah, February 25 calls. I'm actually going to post those in the room right now. So bear with me. I'm posting them in the members room right now. And again, if you're listening to this, because usually the first part goes out to everyone, and then I put the watch list together and send out the watch list to the members of Day Trading Radio. So if you want to be on that list and want to be part of our community, head over to DayTraderRockStar. There's a lot of tools, a lot of great traders in our chat room. Alerts, the watch list, the automated alerts to every stock on the watch list goes out to you if it hits its target or hits its entry points or stops. That is all automated, and you get every trade alert that I take, and you get the access to everything. We have our own trader dashboard. I'd actually show it to you right now, but I'm in the middle of this, and it's easy enough to go to DayTraderRadio.com and check it out, because there's a lot to check out there. So this will be a shorter video. Next video will be the members portion of the video. But sometimes I give you a couple good ones like this one. And getting into this one right now a little bit more. So sending that out. And that just went out to the members right there. Another breakout that's happening right now that I love is the BDX. And you can hear that? That was an email that just came in from me. So BDX is actually breaking out here. Nice breakout, BDX. All-time highs. Should get going next week. Look at this nice, almost a year and a half consolidation. So this should get going here. All right. And it's looking pretty good right now, right at the highs. I'm taking a look at what I'm missing. So Bloomberg, we went over that. I have Facebook up here. I'm not trading that. AUPH, VERU, Facebook, Boeing. Well, Boeing is a tough one. I started picking up some options on that again, but I know they're a higher risk type of trade, and I'm not that. I know Boeing will eventually be a great setup, but not this Friday. Now, this is a recent activity. It had a lot of negative news. We're in this big channel going back here. But it's holding up pretty good. I think with next pop, we're going to get that run. It's just that there's definitely a big anchor on this one, and it's not breaking any type of downward trend. But I think the next, all the news is out that we need to have out. All the bad news got to be out on this. They keep on pushing back delivery dates, and they keep on pushing back other dates. So I think that was a big update this week, and with that said, it didn't really get crushed, and that seemed like a lot of bad news that came out. So maybe that news, all this news will start getting priced in. It doesn't want to move lower. Maybe next week you start to break this small little trend and start heading back up. If we start to see that a higher low being put in, I think I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on this, because once this thing gets going and the all clear is out there, people are going to scramble to get back into Boeing. It's good quality, and this has a lot of pent up, let's get ready to go kind of stuff. The other medical device maker, MDT, Medtronics, is another great looking stock. And again, these are some stocks that you might not think they're that sexy, but they are strong stocks and good stocks to kind of get into. If you just want to be in the market and be in a good quality name that has potential for news, there could be they always have devices being tested and being submitted for review, and they could have some good stuff. MDT is one of those companies could do that, because they actually are working on some surgical robots like ISRG. That's another great one that I love. Any type of these stocks that are just making people healthier, making operations easier, valves and pumps and artificial limbs. This is stuff that's going to be very important as everyone ages. So I just don't see these things really pulling back too much. So we watch these constantly, watch for these rotations. When the rotation gets close enough to that 20, you know the buying is going to come back into it, because there's no reason. These are not stocks like, there's two types of stocks that are going up always, and stocks that are always going down.
Shares of Roku now getting the lowest of the day, ROKU.
GME, just to update you, held that one into earnings, did not work. It gapped down. I just got out of it today. It just did, I'm moving on. That was a gamble, but I just noticed that was on my screen there. And what else? We did take the Costco off yesterday for a nice gain before earnings, and I'm glad I did that because it did pull off. But we had a nice gain on Costco options, just holding it a couple days. There is a couple other drug stocks I want to mention that we're waiting for some news. PTI expected to have news next week. Protostasis, I believe they do cystic fibrosis drug, and it looks good. Has it been priced in a move? This thing might end up opening up down here at $2 or $3. I think this is not as a sure thing as the AUPH was, and there's no such thing as a sure thing. But this one's, if you have the gambling spirit, this one probably going to have news next week, or what we call a binary event that's either going to pop it or drop it. Now, you could read a lot of the chat boards on this, some educated people on this talking about the drug and what the drug needs to, how those results are supposed to, should come in, and if they stray or they are not exactly what is expected. Then people are going to say that everything's priced in already because the stock had a nice run into this release. But if they have better results, then people are expecting it to pop. So I put this one as a higher risk, newsworthy binary event. Definitely should move the stock, but there is potential for some downside on that. But I am holding that. I am having a couple hundred shares just to kind of be part of it. Not much of a gamble. I mean, if it drops 2 points, I'm just risking, $400 maybe at the most. But if it pops 5 points, I could, I'm looking at that. Nothing big on that, I don't like to gamble these too much, but I like to be part of it. So a small amount of shares, it kind of keeps it real. The AMRN has been actually very strong. I'm curious on that. The MDT, we talked about it. Some, again, other quality stocks, and I want to kind of bring you some sexy stuff too, things that have the potential to move. But waste management, I've always tracked it and traded for you. It's in a very nice pattern here. The downward trend line is really established. So as you pull away from that, we're probably going to make another test of it. This is starting to get oversold. The day today is kind of an engulfing pattern, previous candle, but it's a Friday, so anything can happen next week. And does this break down and eventually come down to the lower trend line? That would be an absolutely dream. Sorry about that. A dream entry. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. Maybe even put the alert down there just in case it got down there. But I think, I don't know if we're going to do that. I think actually we have a better shot of actually ramping up here. I think we have a really good shot of ramping up. So I have it on the list for next week to watch and put on the main screen. I don't know how I'm going to apply it. Probably, just by looking at a higher high on this might get me into this. And that means, we're almost at a higher high. Let's take a look at it right now, actually. Yeah, it actually gapped up and then chopped around. That's interesting. I might get into this right now because it's very close to where I like it. It's a nice pullback. It's holding the 200. We have it. We have a little space to drop down here. But I like the engulfing pattern. I don't like that it's a Friday and we have the weekend in front of us and anything can happen and all these stocks get gapped down on Monday. So I'd like to buy this on a higher high. So that waste management higher high, which would put us a target on this to buy at 111.57. 111.57. 111.57. buy trigger. All right. And possibly before the end of the day. All right, that's about it for the first part of the. Hope that's the bot here over there. You heard that? That is the rock button. Again, this is the end of the first part of the video watch list I usually send out to the public. The next part will be a members only section. So for those out there, members only, I'll pick up right from this point. But I want to show you the dashboard for those that are not familiar with Day Trading Radio. Go to DayTraderRockStar.com. You'll see that opening screen. You'll see our video screen up there. Click on it. You can watch the show every day. Right now it is lunchtime, and Paul is on lunch. But normally he'll be talking there, and we'll be discussing and trading the market and stuff. If you log in as a member, you can see a totally different what happens here. The transformation of the site, and then everything that goes along with the site. You have our dashboard. Now our dashboard is our trader dashboard. Available player services there. All right, here's our trade alert box. These are all from, if I place my trades in there, they got automated. We have all their audio alerts. We have a live news squawk that you can hear in the background. We have market measured tools. Our chat, our intense chat, you click on here, the chat room will open up. And there's hundreds of people in the chat room. Make sure you allow it to open, and then it'll tell me I'm already logged in, so I'll have to go into this number 2. And then boom, you'll see all the traders in here. And they'll be discussing their trades and stuff. And we have a room for stock traders, futures, options. We do it all. And so that's it. So come on by. And that's it. We're going to see you in the market. I just want to do an update on a few stocks here. We're talking about them every day, live on the air from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock. We'll see you in the markets.